Hello, this is Luke, and this is my presentation for Charles Spurgeon. Charles Spurgeon was England's best-known preacher in the 19th century, and probably one of the best-known preachers to have ever lived, earning him the title of Prince of Preachers. Let's see. Spurgeon was born in Kelvedon, Essex in 1834. He didn't actually convert to Christianity until he was 15, though, after being blown into a primitive Methodist church by a snowstorm. And while he was there, they were preaching a sermon on Isaiah 45. And it was after that Spurgeon became a believer. Later that year, he moved to Cambridge, where he became a Sunday school teacher. And he didn't preach his first sermon until later that same year, I believe, in the winter, when he was actually filling in for a friend, and he spoke at a very small cottage in Tiversham. But he did so good that he continued to preach afterwards, and he became pretty well known around the area. And because of that, he was asked to be the pastor of a small Baptist church at Waterbeach, Cambridgeshire, and so he preached there for a little while. And so 4 years after his conversion, actually, because his preaching was so good, he was asked to be the pastor at New Park Street Church in London. And so he moved over there, and at first the congregation was very small and didn't have very many members. But after Spurgeon took over as pastor, numbers grew very rapidly, because he was just so. Spurgeon had a very powerful way of preaching, and was very relatable, and he was able to communicate the message and in such a way that the common man could understand it, and he was just very, very real. And so the congregation grew so large that they actually had to move out of the building, and so they went to Exeter Hall for a little while, and then he later on moved to the Surrey Music Hall. And so while he was there, he would usually preach to congregations that were as large as, I would say, 10,000 members, and they would just like pack the halls, and like all the seats would be filled, so other people had to be standing to hear Spurgeon's message. And so later on, New Park Street eventually constructed a new building for Spurgeon to preach at, called the Metropolitan Tabernacle, and that's where he and his congregation stayed permanently afterwards. And so I would say Spurgeon's greatest contribution to Baptist history was during the downgrade controversy, and this was named after there's a lot of evolutionary thinking going on and liberal theology, which threatened to downgrade the church. So which Spurgeon called it that, which is why it's called the downgrade controversy now. He believed that there was a lot of doctrinal error going on, even within the church itself, with the influence of Unitarian ideas. And so all these different ideas were even starting to influence the Baptist Union itself. And so he later on had to separate from the Baptist Union because of this. And so some other things that Spurgeon did during his lifetime, well, it's estimated that he preached to over 10 million people while he was alive, and he was a pastor for 38 years, just always preaching and giving sermons. And so later on, he not only defended the gospel and sola scriptura, and just the authenticity and validity and power of the Bible itself, but he also started a charity organization, which is now global, and he also founded a college called Spurgeon's College now. And so all these things greatly influenced not just Baptist history, but I would say Christian history. And so um, this is why I believe Spurgeon has been such a great influence to us today. So thank you.